This is the GRILLS 7002C Pellet Grill and Smoker, and it has done something I did not expect. It made real wood smoke feel as easy as using an indoor oven while still giving me that deep, clean barbecue flavor. I would put this in the set it and relax category of outdoor cookers. It is a pellet grill and smoker that slots in for someone like me who enjoys cooking outside, but does not want to spend the whole afternoon chasing temperatures or feeding a fire. If you have been using charcoal or gas and you are curious about pellets, this is built for that jump. If you already love slow cooking ribs and pork shoulder, this has the capacity and the control to make those days smoother. The first thing that hits me about the design is how solid it feels. It is over 110 pounds, and that weight translates into stability and heat retention. The body is a classic barrel with a bronze finish that has held up to a couple of windy weekends and one light rain without drama. There are 2 big wheels and 2 locking casters. I do not want to drag it around the yard every day, but repositioning on a patio is simple. The hopper sits on the right side with a little window, which sounds like a small touch, but it means I can confirm pellet level at a glance instead of opening a lid and losing heat. The top shelf and main grate give me real estate I actually use. I can run a batch of ribs on the main level and slide a tray of vegetables up top without juggling space. Setup was friendlier than I expected. I spent a lazy Saturday with the manual and a socket wrench, and it went together without any head scratching. Before the first cook, I did the initial burn off to clear factory oils. That took a bit of patience because the auger needs to prime. The auger feeds pellets slowly by design, so I let it do its thing while I double-checked the internals. I pulled the grates and heat shield the first time, hit the power button, set the dial to smoke, listened for the fan, and watched pellets start to drop into the fire pot. The liquid crystal display comes to life with the grill temperature. It is bright enough to read in daylight, and the layout is straightforward. I did not need to memorize a manual to use it. Once I started cooking, the heart of the experience was the control system. GRILLS uses a proportional integral derivative controller, and they call this version 2.1. I am not an engineer, but I do know what it does for me. It keeps the heat steady by pulsing pellets and fan speed in a way that feels smart. I dial a target, and it settles in with small, predictable adjustments. On a calm day, it holds steady in a way that lets me relax. On a windy afternoon, I saw tiny swings but nothing wild. No babysitting, no running back and forth to bump vents or toss in more fuel. In day-to-day use, the speed is reasonable. It preheats quickly for a pellet grill. I can go from cold to cooking in the time it takes me to season a rack of ribs or form burger patties. Is it as fast as a gas grill blasting hot instantly? No, but I never felt impatient. The responsiveness is also good. When I wanted to push from low smoke to higher heat for a reverse sear on steaks, the climb was smooth and the numbers on the display matched what I was seeing on the grates. Performance-wise, the flavor is why I kept using it. Pellet smoke is cleaner than a messy charcoal fire when I am distracted. Chicken wings done low and slow picked up a gentle kiss of smoke and stayed juicy. A pork shoulder with hickory pellets developed a bark I was proud of, and the internal temperature climbed exactly how the meat probe said it would. Speaking of probes, the included meat probes plug into the front panel. I stick them in the thick part of the meat and watch the numbers on the same display as the grill temperature. That alone reduces stress. I do not run in and out with a separate thermometer, and it helps me decide when to wrap and when to rest. Space matters more than spec sheets let on, and here it is genuinely useful. The cooking surface is about 704 square inches. In real terms, I fit 4 racks of ribs along the main grate, used the upper rack for a tray of seasoned vegetables, and closed the lid without squishing anything. For a birthday cookout, I loaded it with burgers and dogs and still had room to keep buns warm without burning them. The hopper holds about 28 pounds of pellets, and that size matters on long cooks. On an all-day pork shoulder, I did not have to refill mid-cook. The little window in the hopper saved me from guessing when I was running low. Let me walk through a few real sessions. On a breezy Saturday, I did a batch of chicken wings at low heat, ran them until the skin started to tighten, then bumped the temperature up to crisp. The grill moved from low to higher heat without overshooting. The wings came out with bite-through skin and a clean smoke aroma that did not feel heavy. Another day, I tackled 4 racks of baby back ribs. I used apple wood pellets, spritzed a few times, and let the controller hold the set point. The ribs finished tender, not mushy, and I never saw major temperature swings even when I opened the lid to wrap. For steaks, I did a reverse sear. I started them low to build smoke, pulled them just shy of the finished temperature using the meat probe, then pushed the grill hotter and finished over the hotter zone above the fire pot. I prefer a screaming hot sear you get from a dedicated charcoal kettle, but with a cast iron pan on the grate, I got a satisfying crust, and that would note that gas cannot replicate. There are smart touches that make this easier to live with. The hopper has a clean out chute with a lever, so when I want to switch from hickory to apple or cherry, I dump the leftovers and change flavors without scooping by hand. The grease management is straightforward. I line the tray with foil for big cooks, and it channels drippings to the bucket. Cleanup is not glamorous, but it is simple. After a couple of cooks, I vacuum the fire pot and the bottom of the barrel to keep airflow clear. Those few minutes pay off the next weekend. The included cover fits snugly and I use it. Pellets like to stay dry, and the grill stays cleaner if I keep it covered between cooks. Not everything is perfect. That solid build means it is heavy. If you move a grill in and out of storage every time you use it, this will feel like a chore. The auger prime on day 1 felt slow, and I had to resist the urge to spin the dial or cycle power. My advice is to let the system feed itself, and you will be fine. Searing at very high heat is good, especially with a cast iron accessory, but it is not the same as a concentrated charcoal bed. If all you do is steakhouse-level searing, a dedicated sear station might suit you better. The weather can influence any outdoor cooker. On a cold, windy morning, I noticed slightly longer preheat and minor fluctuations. The controller corrected for it, but I would call that normal pellet grill behavior. A scenario that sold me on it was a simple family Sunday. I prepped a pork shoulder the night before with salt and pepper. I loaded the hopper, turned it on in smoke mode to get going, set my temperature, and let the proportional integral derivative controller take over. I plugged in a meat probe, went inside to make slaw, and checked the display through the window every hour or so. When the internal temperature stalled, I wrapped it, put it back, and went about my day. That night I pulled the pork with almost no fuss. It was tender and properly smoky, and the process never felt fussy or delicate. Another use case is weeknight cooking. When I am not in the mood to baby a fire, I turn it on, preheat while I season veggies and salmon and put dinner on. The grill holds temperature. I set a probe in the salmon, and I pull it exactly when it hits my target. The smoke is gentle enough that it does not overpower fish, and everything comes off the grates cleanly without sticking, because the heat is consistent. What surprised me most as a beginner to pellets was the ease of learning. The control dial is simple. The liquid crystal display gives me the information that matters, and the meat probes remove guesswork. The hopper window keeps me from opening things unnecessarily. The hopper clean out makes experimenting with different pellet flavors fun instead of messy. The big cooking space means I cook for a group without juggling trays. The sturdy build keeps heat steady and makes me comfortable cooking on a breezy day. If you want a backyard cooker that can smoke low and slow on Saturday, grill a stack of burgers on Sunday, and handle a pizza stone or a loaf of bread when you feel adventurous, this fits that rhythm. If you live in a small apartment with no patio, or you need to lift and store your grill after every use, the weight will be a downside. If you expect restaurant-level sear marks without using a cast iron pan or an accessory grate, you might want to adjust expectations. For me, as someone who values stability, true wood flavor, and enough capacity for family and friends, the GRILLS 7002C makes outdoor cooking calmer and more consistent. I would recommend it to anyone who wants the convenience of set and relax cooking with the taste of real wood. It is friendly enough for a beginner, steady enough for long cooks, and solid enough to keep around for years. Keep it covered, clean the fire pot and the grease tray regularly, and it rewards you with reliable results. If this video helped you, consider subscribing to the channel. Drop your questions or your own pellet grilling tips in the comments. Thank you for watching.